Anthony, congrats.
Thanks, bro.
How good is it to feel to pull that win out there?
Man, I faced some adversity in that first round. I threw a jump round kick, and I slipped, and he got me. He capitalized big time, bro. He hit me in the face twice, and I knew I smelled the blood. I smelled the blood before it even came out. I was like, oh, here it goes again. Turned around, started dripping. So I was just proud of myself for facing adversity and pulling through.
When that happens so quick in the fight, what's the things that immediately go through your head? Do you try to just, I mean, you've been through a lot of war, so does that immediately kick in to just try to tell you to keep calm, just to weather the storm? What goes through your mind right now?
And honestly, before I started working with my mindset guy, I'd revert back to old fights. I'm like, damn, here it goes again. Or you get into this funk thinking where it's these negative thoughts of shit, I experienced this before. But this time I just brought myself back to being present. I knew he had a good position. I'm like, you know what, let him take my back and calm it down from there. I let him get my back. He put his hooks in. He's doing a good job of switching sides on his hooks, and I couldn't find that hole to escape. But I was just breathing, bringing myself back to this present moment, and addressing what was going on in this fight, not in other fights.
And I assume in your mind, rounds 2 and 3 are the ones that you took, right?
Yeah.
Now
I hope so. Because that round one, he was pretty good on that round.
Yeah, he did it right in that one.
Yeah.
So at what point in the second round did you feel that things were starting to swing your way? What was the key that it
I found my range. And he couldn't. He was throwing big bombs, but he wasn't touching me. I was making him bite on feints. I think the feints was when I found my range. When I was making him bite on my kicks, my side kicks to the leg, straight lefts to the face. I think the range was the deciding factor in that round.
In round 3, when you hit him with that spinning kick, you surprised you didn't finish him with that one?
Oh man, I hit him hard with that heel, bro. My heel hurts like mofo right now, and I mean it just nicked his head, and he kind of his eyes went back, and I was like, yo, I got him, but I took my time, and little by little.
And you started talking about it a little bit in the post fight. You obviously pulled out a great victory at welter. Talk about the decision to go back to lightweight.
That was the goal the whole time, honestly. This fight popped up kind of last minute. I was on my way back down to lightweight. I'm pretty shredded actually for 70. I was surprised myself how I looked at 70. I'm like, man, I probably could make this weight class, stay for a little bit. But before it's too late for me to go back to lightweight, I want to go back down there and do it right this time. I feel like when I went back in January, it was a forced upon me decision. I wasn't mentally there, and I wasn't doing the stuff outside of the octagon that would have made it make sense to go to 55. I can't. You guys are talking too loud back there.
Tell him, champ.
All I can hear is them talking. I'm like, oh man.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe this was the last fight on your UFC contract.
It is.
Now, is there any idea in your mind? Do you want to stay with the UFC, or do you want to possibly see what your fair value is out on the market?
I don't know. I think that was the risk of taking this fight when not re-signing the UFC contract. Usually I re-sign my UFC contracts, 3 fights to go or 2 fights to go. But this time I'm like, yo, I'm 33 years old. I've been in this is my 11th and a half year with this company, man. I've been in this company for a long time. I love this place. I grew up under these lights, and I grew up, they made me who I am. But at this point, I'm just going to take my time, go to Christmas, have my New Year's, and then see what happens in the beginning of 2021.
Now, you kind of touch on it there, knowing that it was the end of the contract. Recently, we saw roster cuts.
Yeah.
Did that put any extra pressure in your head? I got to go out there and really put on a showing in this fight?
Nah, not really. I think if I would have let that get to my head, then I would have fought a different fight out there. I might have been too gung ho to go get him. And on the first round, maybe that's how it looked. I was going for that jump round kick. But I don't think my job's at stake. I think I've earned my right to be fighting where I'm at, and I can fight with the best of them, bro. I beat the guy in the main event of this card, Wonder Boy, and he's a great fighter. Yeah. So I just feel like it's just me finding my groove outside the octagons what's going to make me get these fights and keep going. My goal right now is to keep a win streak going. This is my first win streak in a long time, and it feels good.
Well, now going back down to lightweight, where do you feel that you slot yourself back in? I mean, I know a lot of times fighters aren't really caught up on the rankings. They just want to get in a good fight. So is there a fight that makes sense, or is there a certain positioning that you feel that you should be able to have once you make that move down?
I think Tony makes sense, man. I think Tony Ferguson coming off his 2 losses, and he's fighting tough dudes, and that's what I hate about this sport. Guys like, oh, Tony's done, and dude, he's a dangerous dude. But I think that would be a good fight for me to jump back into the lightweight mix, and he's still right up there.
So when that you play that fight out in your head, I mean, where do you see that battle sort of happening?
Man, he got me early with those elbows. I think I'll make some adjustments in there and actually have a full training camp for that. And not taking nothing away from him. I took that fight on a short notice. The weight cut was horrible, and I wasn't mentally there in in that process. I was like just doing these 155 fights because I kind of had to. I didn't want to, and that's the difference right now. I'm like, I'm making the decisions outside the octagon to make these fights go easier.
So looking ahead at 2021, what sort of goals are you going to set for yourself?
I already set my goals, man. My first goal was to win every round in every fight, and I just lost one round, so I got some holes to fix. And I'm hiring the right coaches and getting the right guys behind me. My life outside the octagons is cleaning way up, man. I feel good where I'm at.
And I'm glad you brought that. I forgot the addition of Rufus into the camp. How did that help step your game up for this fight?
Drysdale, you mean, right?
Drysdale.
Yeah,
sorry.
Rufus has been with me since jump, man.
Yeah. Sorry, Drysdale.
Duke, I wouldn't fight without Duke, honestly. Drysdale, he's giving me a home here in Las Vegas, man, because I split my time between Milwaukee and Las Vegas, and he's just opening my mind back up to grappling and different things again. I know the things I'm supposed to do, but he's giving me confidence in there to like make it work under pressure. And in this fight, I did something he showed me in the back. In the back we were just doing some drills. He's like, hey, if you pass that post hand with the front hand to the back hand, it makes it a little easier. And I did it in the third round, and it made me stay on top of him for that third round. So just seeing little things like that, that's crazy as an athlete. To like, man, that's a huge, one little detail can change a whole round.
And I know Rufus is in Milwaukee, but is there ever any thought in your mind to maybe relocate to Vegas in the future? I
do spend half my time here, man. So like I'm finding gyms that I can agree with, that I agree with their mindset and their process. Actually, the Njikwanji brothers, Anthony and Chidi,
yep.
At One Kick Nick's gym, I'm training out there with these guys. It's crazy. I was supposed to fight Anthony in my WC debut,
yep.
And now he's kind of coaching me and holding pads and like giving me some mindset stuff. So it's cool how it all comes around full circle.
That's awesome. Congrats on the win.
Thank you, bro.
Anthony, over to you, right? You said that you had made a decision not to actually have contract talks this time around. Had the UFC approached you prior, or you just told your manager that you weren't going to have the contract discussion just yet? How's that working?
They did approach, yeah. And I think it was a fight ago that they approached, and they were like, hey, you're coming up on your last fights in your UFC contract. And I just wanted to see what's out there, man, to see what's openings and to see what my worth really is. And obviously I haven't had 2 fights in a row in a long time, so I kind of bet on myself in this one, and then it worked out. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, who knows what happens, honestly. I'm not trying to like get caught up on that because I want to go enjoy Christmas with my family.
You had some interviews this week where you talked about kind of a new mindset for you and also making different decisions. You'd said that you've been 3 months sober, for instance. What's been the payoff for you when you noticed when you got you just a few minutes after the fight, but do you notice any difference in terms of how you were able to perform tonight based off of the new mindset and the decisions that you made for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like alcohol, and I was pretty open about it. It feels good to be able to talk about it openly. Like, I was going through this like roller coaster of emotions. I've been in this sport for 11 and a half years at the highest levels and the lowest lows, honestly. 3 losses in a row, coming off my title run. And you get like, fighters get this. They get these like, whether it's a diet, whether it's alcohol, marijuana, whatever your vice is, like we get these like roller coaster of emotions, and with them emotions come bad decisions or good decisions. And I speaking with my mindset, Micah. His name's Micah. The UFC gave us him. He's a psychologist. He played Major League Baseball, so he could relate to the emotions that we feel. And then you add social media to that, and you add family and friends, and it's like, man, it was just like I wasn't even noticing it. I've been doing it so long, I thought it was normal. I'm just like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do after a fight. This is how it's supposed to. Either you're celebrating or sorrow, drinking or smoking. So like now that I noticed it and I can make that change. In this fight, I felt present. I was able to come back and get present. I wasn't like going like to the emotions of old fights. Like if I faced adversity before, and old fights, I'm like reverting back to thoughts that I shouldn't be thinking in the octagon. And like it's weird. Like when I go watch my fights, I'm like, why was I thinking about that? When this was going on, this guy's punching me in the face, and I'm like thinking about what bills I got to pay next month or some stuff. It's crazy. And now like that you can get in there, like now that I can get in there and actually recognize that and then pull myself back to being present, it's a powerful tool.
We were talking before the fights started tonight about you, Wonder Boy, and Aldo all being on the same card and having an opportunity to maybe remind people about who you were and how you got to where you are in your career. And it's been 10 years since that spectacular spinning kick, and you brought it out again tonight. Was that the plan? Did the moment just happen, and how do you feel about being able to land it and coming full circle?
Yeah, the moment just kind of happened. I can't force them. I think that's what I was doing before. I was like forcing these moves, and I was like expecting so much of myself, and it wasn't happening, and it wasn't clicking. Then I was like man, like my mindset went negative, like negative thoughts and like negative talk, like talking to myself negatively, opposed to like calm down. You got this. Take your time. I have great corners, great coaches in my corner. Duke, like, we went through this whole process all week. Like, actually, I really liked this camp because we had to stay in the hotel. And it reminded me of the old days, like me, Duke, my little bro, just sharing a hotel room. We didn't share a room, but like we were in the hotel room the whole time, and like just watching old fight films and like just getting back to like the basics, man. And it felt good. Like I think I'll start doing that from fights coming out from now on, like spending more time with these guys and alone, and like going through like old fight films and watching them kind of moves. And we watched a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, we went down a rabbit hole on YouTube and like one night, and we're just like, damn, what time is it? It was fun to be like that again. It felt like the old days.
Congrats on the win, Anthony. What would you tell yourself after 10 years of the Showtime kick, defending your UFC belt at 181 on the Lawler-Hendricks card, and being on a Wheaties box? Like, how do you stay relevant to the point that now you would tell yourself, hey, I'm starting a company to manage fighters coming up?
Man, just take your time. That's just what it's all about, man. You can't rush this thing. And I won the WEC belt in 2 years, and I won the UFC belt, I think, in 2 years. Not even, that's how quick my rise happened. I was invincible when that was happening. Watching them old fights and seeing how I carried myself. I made a lot of mistakes outside the octagon. I made a lot of mistakes outside the octagon. Like in the octagon, I was the man, but like doing the stuff that I was doing outside the octagon was my self-destruction mode. And like being able to see that now and being able to admit it, and I'm still like in the highest level, it's a good thing. I didn't have to wait till my career was over to go back and be like, damn, I should have made better decisions. So it feels good that I'm making them decisions right now. And I think I have a lot of great advice for younger fighters. My younger brother is somebody that follows in my footsteps, like, well, in fighting, he's his own style, his own person. But making sure he makes the right decisions, because you only have a small window in this career, and you got to make the right decisions in the right time to make sure the rest of your life is good. And that's what I want to give these other fighters that come up through my camp.
And I know we're kind of stretching it a little bit, but you considered yourself an OG in the game now. What do you say what are the gems of how guys like you and even a Mike Tyson can stay relevant after all this time in the hurt business?
Man, I think my nickname, Showtime. Everybody's waiting for something crazy to happen when I fight. And as long as I can keep bringing that fire, that intensity that I have, and that passion, that drive, that's what's more impressive to people. I think when you have some adversity and you still can keep going, not like a quick knockout or like then they just want to see you lose. But like when you have some adversity and then you can bounce back. It's like a Cinderella story, man. Like that's what I'm on right now. My legacy. How am I gonna leave this sport, and how am I gonna be remembered? Because like everybody that saw me do the Showtime kick, the Wheaties box, then they saw the last 5-6 years of my career that a win-loss, and now I'm right in the next 5 or 6 years right now.
Congrats, man. Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Anthony, what was the catalyst? You mentioned you talked to a sports psychologist, but what was the catalyst to stop the drinking and start this new 2.0 in your career?
My fiance, honestly, man, she was like, yo, she's here, but like she's like, you're never present. And I'm like, really? Like what? I'm always here. Like I'm here all the time with you. And then like understanding what she was really saying, I'm like, damn, she's right. Like how if I can't be present in that relationship, how am I present in my career? How am I present as a father? Like, so I really just went back and like just addressed how I wanted to be, and then how I wanted to be present in people's lives that are important to me. And my career is so important to me, and I was just like kind of letting it fade away. I was self-destructing my career, man, and I'm so glad I got to see it at this point, where I can still make a decision to change.
Do you see this now, this refreshed? I don't know if reinvented, but are you looking to make another shot at the title?
Man, I'm excited to see where it goes, because like now I feel like I have a new like toolbox, a new tool, like where it's not a physical thing, it's more of a mental thing. Because I already have all the physical attributes it takes to be a champion. I know what I've done it already. It's the mental, the confidence, the self-talk. Like that's the stuff that I gotta fix. And I noticed that in my fights and my camps, like I'm my biggest critic. And like when I get like these negative thoughts of talking to myself, and I'm like, yo, you suck, or like, why did you have a bad sparring session? Now I have the ability to like go back, like, all right, let's look at these thoughts like from curiosity and not judgment. I'm not judging myself no more. Like, why did I feel like I had a bad sparring session? Curiosity, like think about it in that mindset where I'm not like, damn, you suck, or like, man, you need to go do miles on the treadmill. So that changes the way I approach my training sessions. Like this week alone, like I was like, I'm not gonna judge myself off my physical performances, like leading up to fight week, because usually I get too hot-headed and I'm like trying to knock out the pads and not trying to hurt my training partners. I'm gonna judge myself off my being present in these fight sessions. And man, it took so much pressure off of myself, and it felt good. Like this fight week was fun.
Not much time to reflect because it just happened, but So how do you feel that approach went?
Oh man, I was reflecting in the cage, man. Like right after we got done, like I was thinking about every moment of that fight, and like I remember where I almost broke first round. I threw that jump kick, I fell on my like forearms and hit me with 2 hooks, and like the blood was coming right away. And like I remember for 1 second, I'm like, oh shit, here it happens again. And I felt my mind start drifting. I'm like, yo, bring yourself back, calm the hell down. Let's figure out the path to winning this fight. And then I felt him slowing down. I'm like, oh shit, it works. You know, it felt good.
You mentioned your goal of 2021, win every round, but even beyond that, do you have any aspirations to getting in the?
That's what follows up my goal. Win every round so I become the world champion. And I think that's what I got to focus on. Instead of like trying to like, let me knock this guy out, just go in there, win every minute, win every second of every fight. And there would be no excuse to besides becoming the champion.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas.